What is good? What is good? What's popping, everybody? Mikey T, the movie star here. We got some live news. We got some pretty crazy news. Just let me get my sound.
Good? What is good? What's popping?
Let me just get my sound and everything situated.
Movie star here. We got some live news.
Listen, everybody joining me here on Instagram. Hit the link in my bio now to come over and join me on YouTube Live. Everybody hit the link in my bio now. I'll see you on YouTube. All right, cool. Let's get it. Let's get it. We're going live tonight. Got a couple different things to speak on, y'all. Couple different things we got to touch on that I missed over the last few days. You know, a story that's actually been building over the last couple days. And I am talking about Benny the Butcher and Freddie Gibbs, you guys. I'm talking about Benny the Butcher and Freddie Gibbs, two artists that we've actually seen work with one another. You know what I mean? Two artists that I imagine must have had an immense amount of respect for one another over the years. You know, when Benny had first surged into the game, Freddie Gibbs worked with Benny the Butcher. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about it all tonight, man. We got a couple dope topics. We got a couple dope topics, you guys. We're going to go over a lot of different shit tonight, man. Appreciate everybody for sharing this video. Appreciate everybody for hitting the like button. Make sure you share the video. I'm going to roll up. I'm going to get ready for tonight, man. Yep, Buffalo. Major respect to Buffalo, man. They got the game on Smash right now, to be honest with you. They've had it on Smash for a few years, really, since everybody started taking. What up, South Strip? What's popping? What up, Mr. Hustle? I need everybody here on Instagram to hit the link in my bio. Come join me on YouTube right now. We are live on YouTube. Let all your friends know, everybody watching this. Share this video on your social media platforms. Facebook, if you got Facebook friends that are into hip hop, share this on your Twitter if you want to send out a tweet about it and post the link. And also share it in your story on Instagram. Everybody supporting the video is appreciated. What up, Horsey the Sun God? Appreciate you. Mello, salute to you. Everybody that's watching me on Instagram, hit the link in my bio right now and come join me on YouTube. We're going live on YouTube tonight, man. So I'll see everybody that's in here. Come join me on YouTube and we'll interact. Major salute to everybody tuning in, man. We got a lit show for tonight. Let's see, hold on one second. Let me just get everything situated here so we are ready to go. I'm about to roll up one of these Dutches, man. What am I twisting up? Okay, good. Some runts. Beautiful. We got some runts and we got some major hip hop news, you guys, that we got to speak on tonight. Major salute, my guy, Pert Gambit. Appreciate you for tapping in, bro. Major salute to you on the tap in tonight. Appreciate everybody who's tapping in. Let me ask you guys the question, man. Let me know, man, as you're tapping in, let me know what you're blazing tonight. I'm blazing on some runts, as I just said. I'm blazing on some runts, you guys. Major respect, everybody on the tune in tonight. Go ahead and share this video. Get this shit broken up. We got to touch on a lot tonight, man. Chief Keef and NBA Youngboy. A new snippet was posted by No Jumper. We're going to speak on that. We're going to clear that up as well. Chief Keef actually spoke on that. We got Milford, Connecticut in the building. Major salute to Milford. My guy Jay Wavy in the building. Major salute. Ski to Boss Man. Yep, we're going to be talking about Freddie Gibbs tonight. You know Freddie Gibbs, one of CTE original artists under Young Jeezy. An artist that showed Benny some love when he first came into the game, you know, but Benny's celebrity just took on so, you know, quickly. Benny's celebrity grew so rapidly that in all honesty, he couldn't be stopped. And in all honesty, Benny wasn't going to just be working with the, you know, the rappers who were below the mainstream. You know, Freddie Gibbs had his opportunity of mainstream success. Benny the Butcher is getting love from the likes of Russ. Benny the Butcher is getting love from the likes of Drake, which Freddie Gibbs addressed. And we're going to have to go over it tonight, man. We're going to have to go over it tonight, because we had all heard the Freddie Gibbs, the Drake record with Benny the Butcher. We had all heard about the record, the speculation. I remember it actually leaked as well. I remember the record actually leaked. What's going on, Ghostface? Appreciate you for tapping in. Everybody share this video. Everybody share this video. T2 says, when is Benny getting that Drake feature? Well, Benny the Butcher featuring Drake. Drake actually did the Buffalo freestyle and put Benny the Butcher on it. That was actually that scenario. Oh, okay. Well, you can enjoy it in another room then, bro. Ghostface, appreciate you for tapping in. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. We got a live discussion tonight. You guys. And I'm really excited for it. We got 2 dope topics. Ski the Boss Man says they have a song already. It's just not cleared. So, of course, Freddie Gibbs is going to take shots at him. Freddie Gibbs even went as far to say that he sold more units than Benny the Butcher. He went as far to say that he sold more units than Benny the Butcher. If we really need to be honest about the amount of records sold, you guys, that is it's got to be considered by the amount of time each of them have been in the industry. Griselda, Benny the Butcher, they really just started taking off at the end of 2018. Right before that, I went and licked Conway and Westside Gun before that. Benny took off a little bit after them. Freddie Gibbs has been popping since what? 2014? 2013 maybe, when they did the record deal with CTE and Tone Trump was signed with him and Wink Loke, and you know what I'm saying? Jay Wavy is saying Gibbs is not effing with Benny for real. But if we're realistic, you guys, about this, Benny the Butcher featured on the Alfredo album from Freddie Gibbs. And I remember I went over these sales. The sales were rather impressive. For Freddie Gibbs' Alfredo album. He actually moved 30,000 first week. So when Freddie Gibbs says, let me see, Freddie Gibbs actually said in regard to, he said, Freddie Gibbs put Benny the Butcher on his Alfredo album. And his Alfredo album, actually, like I said, it sold 30,000 units first week. Freddie Gibbs said, why would I beg a dude to work with me when he does less than me? Benny the Butcher's album, Tana Talk 4, if you can even really call it his album, because it's most certainly not Benny the Butcher's mainstream debut. It's not his main label debut, you guys. Benny the Butcher's main label debut, his mainstream debut, however you want to refer to it, will be coming out under Def Jam, under Snoop Dogg. This will be Benny the Butcher's mainstream debut album, you guys, not Tana Talk. Tana Talk is his series that he created while on the come up. The fact that Benny the Butcher moved 20,000 units, 19,500, whatever you want to call it, the fact that he moved that many in a week says a lot compared to Freddie Gibbs, who has been promoted for the last 10 years. Well, Top City, we're going to be speaking on the collaboration that surfaced, but it's actually an old collaboration. So the thing behind that is actually all the internet is buzzing right now. Oh shit, Chief Keef worked with Lil Durk. Chief Keef is Lil Durk's homie and he worked with NBA Youngboy. What does this mean for Lil Durk? Well, first of all, if anybody's been following, there haven't been that many collaborations between Lil Durk and Chief Keef. These two haven't been the most frequent collaborators, you guys. I'm rolling up, you guys. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Share this video, man. Just going to finish rolling up these runts and we'll get right back to it. We got some interesting shit to talk about tonight, though, man. The whole internet's going crazy that Chief Keef worked with NBA Youngboy, like they should, because everyone is fixated on Chief Keef right now. What is he going to do? What will Chief Keef's move be in relation to everything that's been going on with Lil Durk and NBA Youngboy for the last few months since NBA Youngboy got out of jail and decided he was going to diss King Von and Lil Durk on his new project, Colors. Get this thing rolled up right here, you guys. Rolling me up a Dutch for tonight's show. My dude says Sosa will never work with Youngboy again. T2 says Sosa is a lot of these rappers' daddies. Salute to you. Salute to you. Salute to you, man. Well, in all honesty, I'm glad I waited a little bit on this Freddie Gibbs and Benny the Butcher issue because a lot more information has come out about it. You know what I mean? I've been watching since the beginning. I remember Benny the Butcher getting into the game and actually doing some shows. You know what I mean? A lot of different people would invite Benny out to do shows. A lot of people, since they saw the talent that Benny had, they would let him work with them. The fact that he was on the BET cipher, it really turned a lot of heads in regard to Benny the Butcher, you guys. So he was given so many opportunities. And one little thing that Benny the Butcher said in an interview actually sparked off this whole beef, if you want to call it that, this misunderstanding, So Freddie Gibbs commented on what Benny the Butcher said. Freddie Gibbs said, working with Freddie Gibbs came and went. I know some other shit that came and went too. Just keep my name out of your mouth. When you're doing interviews, just say next question. I don't want to talk about him. Just say next question for real. Now, this is something I never thought I would have heard from Freddie Gibbs coming after Benny the Butcher like this. Benny the Butcher apparently said in an interview, working with Freddie Gibbs came and went. To be honest with you, it's all love. Now, if you just look at the way that Benny the Butcher's career played out, you can pretty much tell that after he worked with Freddie Gibbs, Freddie Gibbs gave him some light. He gave him some attention. He put him on his freaking album, for crying out loud. After that, Benny the Butcher kept on shooting into the stratosphere. Benny the Butcher's career never stopped. He kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where putting out a project, which had been speculated on with Benny the Butcher and Freddie Gibbs, putting out a project or continuing to work with Freddie Gibbs wasn't the most lucrative scenario. Pretty obvious when Benny the Butcher, I'm pretty sure before the pandemic, Benny was set to tour with Russ. So many different opportunities were coming Benny the Butcher's way, you guys. And that's why I feel like he said that comment. That's what I feel like that comment means. Working with Freddie Gibbs came and went, to be honest with you. Working with Freddie Gibbs came and went because he grew in his career so rapidly that he's working with the likes of Drake. He's working with the who's who of hip hop right now. Freddie Gibbs is more on the B-rated list of hip hop. No disrespect to Gibbs, but he's not of the elite class of hip hop at this point in time. Freddie Gibbs had that moment in the sun where his name was all over the place, but he did not move on it properly. You know, we saw the little tension that happened with him and Young Jeezy. I didn't think it was going to go there. I thought it was a very interesting signing. Young Jeezy picking up Freddie Gibbs. It was a little bit different than Jeezy trying to work with Chief Keef or Jeezy working with YG. You know, it's a little bit different. I was intrigued. Jeezy gave Freddie Gibbs the ball to run with. So Freddie made an IG post where he said, new shit is coming this week. I got to give these guys some bars. They got to have it. They want some, so I'm going to give it to them. Now, Freddie Gibbs is seemingly going to capitalize on this situation. He's going to try to capitalize on the situation by putting out music. You know, just like he had sort of said, or I sort of said a little bit earlier, how would Freddie Gibbs have made the best of his situation with Benny the Butcher? Freddie Gibbs just sold the Alfredo album. He put Benny the Butcher on it. It did 30,000 first week. Okay. Practical next step would be to do a project with Benny the Butcher. Sometimes an artist like Benny the Butcher will need that alley-oop in order to get more fame, to attain more attention, to have music videos come out that people want to see, to make it as a stepping stone to the next position. You know, but Benny the Butcher sold 20,000 units himself. Why does he need to do a project with Freddie Gibbs to sell 20,000 units? Appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. Brick City. What up, Brick City? Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Share this video. We are going over some news. The breaking news of Benny the Butcher and Freddie Gibbs going back and forth, you guys. Something I never thought we would see. You know, why did I never think we'd see this? Because of respect levels in hip hop. You know what I mean? When Benny the Butcher first came into the game, I saw all the respect that he had for the people that were ahead of him. At that, you can use that terminology. They were ahead of him. They had made it further than Benny the Butcher at that time. Burden of Proof, another project, a street album, not necessarily an album. Benny the Butcher's first album is going to be with Def Jam. It's going to be under Snoop Dogg. All right, where's my lighter? Where's my lighter, y'all? Appreciate y'all for staying in tune with me, man. Appreciate y'all for sharing this video. Ocho Almighty, soon people going to be begging Benny the Butcher for a verse. People are already begging Benny the Butcher for a verse, Ocho. Benny the Butcher has become one of the most sought after artists in the whole music industry at this point in time. You know, Benny the Butcher's fame grew so rapidly. That's why Freddie Gibbs can't really understand it. You know what I mean? Freddie Gibbs' success didn't grow as increasingly as Benny the Butcher's had. Like Benny the Butcher literally went from having the attention of, you know, the underground to having the attention of Drake and Eminem. Literally, in my interview with Benny the Butcher, he had said he kind of felt like, or this might have been another one, might not have been mine, maybe it was mine, but he had sort of felt like after Eminem saw his freestyle, he kind of it was like one of those moments, and that's when he realized he messed up. When he heard Benny the Butcher, you know, that was the real package right there. The real package, and I'm sorry to discredit Eminem by saying this, you know what I mean? But Eminem kind of messed up that record deal right there because he was supposed to sign all three of them. He was supposed to sign the Griselda package. You know what I'm saying? Jay Wavy says Gibbs has got to chill out. He wasn't too long to get beat on, right? Ocho Almighty says once you go to Russ or Bruno mode, the only way is up. Yeah. T2 says Benny ate off of Freddie Gibbs' plate and now he is acting funny. Yeah, every project that you promise to make with another artist, sometimes it's not going to come out. I remember back in the days, we were supposed to get a joint project from the Migos and Young Thug, and Leo Cohen stopped that project from coming out, I believe, because of what Young Thug was set to become. A lot of people didn't necessarily believe in the Migos back then. A lot of people were thinking Young Thug was going to be number one. Migos actually came up to a point where they were much bigger than Young Thug. Sometimes people make wrong decisions. Young Thug could have used the Migo Thuggin album, I think it was going to be called. And yeah, if that's a piece of history y'all didn't know, that's why you're tuned in. If anybody watching this video right now is not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe right now so you never miss a live video. Soon enough, Bel Air is coming, you guys. Soon enough, Bel Air is coming. They're going to send the official endorsement. I'm going to be the official Bel Air blogger, and it's going to be a wrap from there. Steve will do it. One of the, you know what I mean? The Butcher. Conway party with Diddy now. Shit, that would be a good look for Conway. Now that Conway is actually independent. You know what I'm saying? T2 says, hell, Lear is crazy. That would have sold hella copies. Yeah, man. Sometimes projects get shelved because of how big the artist is looked at. You know what I mean? When one artist is seemingly of a bigger status than another, look what happened all the way back in the 90s with the DMX, the Jay-Z, and the Ja Rule album, when Ja Rule didn't really have his whole career together yet. Nobody knew Ja Rule as the crooner. Nobody knew him as the ladies' man. You know what I'm saying? He was not known as the follow-up to LL Cool J. If he was, maybe that album would have had an opportunity when all three of them had different personalities. This situation with Benny the Butcher and Freddie Gibbs, it's pretty simple. Freddie Gibbs was outgrown. Benny the Butcher outgrew Freddie Gibbs quite dramatically. At first it was sweet. Freddie Gibbs brings him out on the show. Freddie Gibbs has Benny the Butcher open for him. Well, we've made it to a point where Benny the Butcher is the headline artist and people are getting brought out by Benny the Butcher now. Benny the Butcher went from the young G in the game to many's OG, y'all. I've witnessed Benny the Butcher bring people on stage with him. I've been to Benny the Butcher shows where he's headlining. Benny the Butcher his career was climbing at such a dramatic pace at that point. I don't think he meant any disrespect to Freddie Gibbs. It's like back in the day when I was working with Vado. At one point, when Vado first got into the game. I was exchanging text messages back and forth with Vado. I did one of his first interviews. I was talking with Cassius from Shady. I was talking with Mike Shorey. I was working with all different types of people like that, and I was pairing them up with Vado. Next thing you know, Vado blew up. The UN is the next big thing. Vado's getting $50,000 watches, and he doesn't want to work with Mike Shorey no more. He doesn't really care about working with Cassius anymore. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of an example of that. When people get too big for their britches, as they say. You know what I mean? When people get too big, they start to push other things away. You know what I mean? The game is like that, y'all. You can't help it. You've got bigger companies involved. People are saying, are we ever going to get the Freddie Gibbs and Benny the Butcher album? More than likely not. More than likely not. And it's probably due to the fact that Benny the Butcher is in a major label situation. After Ja Rule had signed with Def Jam, after Murder Inc. signed with Def Jam said, and I believe this was Leo Cohen too, Def Jam said, hell no, Ja. You are not going to record that Cash Money Click album with O1 and Chris Black. Are you out of your mind? We just turned you into Ja Rule. You are not going to record that album with O1 and Chris Black. Put O1 and Chris Black all over the Murder Inc. albums that you want, but we're not clearing you to go do an album for TVT. And you saw what they did with Rule 336. They put Chris Black on there doing freestyle skits, sort of like what they did with Tony Yayo later on. You know what I mean? You can draw a parallel there as well. I look at Burden of Proof. I look at Tana Talk 3. I look at Tana Talk 4. I look at these as personal projects. They're independent albums. This is going the album on Def Jam will be Benny the Butcher's mainstream label debut. These albums are his independent albums. Yo, Ocho, I appreciate you sharing the live, bro. Major salute to you, man. Major salute to everybody on Clubhouse that's tapped in. I was actually just over there. We were talking about 50 Cent comparison to the game. Yeah, Buffalo has some of the best MCs, you know. So doesn't Niagara Falls. You know what I mean? Niagara Falls has some really good MCs as well. Buffalo, Rochester, Niagara Falls, upstate New York in general. Yeah, I'd actually gone up there really early in my career. Boom Bap, Cap, what's popping with you, man? Appreciate you for tapping in. T2 says, now it could be fake beef with Benny and Gibbs. Yeah, you know, Freddie Gibbs had said something. He had said something along the lines of this. He said, dude's whole marketing plan for the album is to beef with Freddie Gibbs. That's cute. Sort of suggesting that Benny the Butcher is beefing with Freddie Gibbs to sell an album. It's very, very odd that Freddie Gibbs says that after the fact that Benny the Butcher's Tana Talk 4 came out and hit Billboard charts. Now, is he saying that because of the fact that Benny the Butcher only moved 20,000 units first week? Like, is that why Freddie Gibbs is saying that Benny the Butcher, you know what I mean? Is that why he's saying it? Is that why he's saying he's starting this beef? Benny the Butcher already moved the units. If Benny the Butcher wanted to actually move those units, he would have started beefing with you back when he did the Breakfast Club in February. He would have said, I'm not messing with Freddie Gibbs in February, man. So I'm not really buying that, man. Like, I'm not really digging all this shit of somebody's doing something for the ratings, or like my friend was telling me, oh, so Will Smith did that shit with Chris Rock, and then the next segment was him accepting the award. It's like, that is the worst promotion ever then. How are you going to promote something 5 minutes before it happens and then expect a massive turnout? It doesn't make sense to me. Benny the Butcher dissing Freddie Gibbs now doesn't make sense for him to promote his album that way. He already released the album. He's already selling units. So Freddie Gibbs' statement right there is a little bit backwards, you know? So let's get into it. Let's get into it here. So Benny posted on Twitter. Benny said, and this is where Benny really exposed the whole situation. Here's where Benny really exposed the whole situation, you guys. Benny the Butcher posted on Twitter. He said, how can you hate on someone you begged to do an album with? How can you hate on someone you begged to do an album with? Guys, I'm putting up a poll. I'm putting up a poll, you guys. I want to know who is the better MC? Who's the better MC? Do you guys got Benny the Butcher, Freddie Gibbs, or is it a tie? They're both lit. I want to know, what do y'all think? Voice your opinions. Put your poll, or let me know what you think in the chat. King Chev, appreciate you for tapping in, bro. Major salute on the tap in, bro. Definitely appreciate it. Appreciate everybody for tapping in tonight, man. Share this video. Just doing a little late promotion for the show, you guys. We're also going to be talking about Chief Keef tonight. There's a record pretty much that came out a few years ago that is being misinterpreted right now as a new record. As you all know, like, the issues with Chief Keef, or the issues with Lil Durk and NBA Youngboy, are pretty serious, and a lot of people have their eye on Chief Keef, wondering what he will do. They're wondering what Chief Keef will do in regard to this. A few years ago, I looked it up. You know what I mean? A few years ago, Chief Keef and NBA Youngboy were working with each other. Now, this is before all the major beef. All the major beef blew up, you guys. Yeah, do a song a few years ago, but right now, it would not be in Chief Keef's best interest to do a song with NBA Youngboy. Sorry, guys. Just doing a little last minute promotion. It wouldn't be in his best interest to do a song, because you're going to have all the fans pretty much assuming that Chief Keef has picked a side. You know what I mean? You're pretty much going to have all the fans assuming that Chief Keef has picked a side in this situation. And Chief Keef, whether Chief Keef is beefing with Lil Durk or not, whether Chief Keef didn't pay for Lil Durk's bail or not several years ago, that doesn't matter when it comes down to it. You know, these guys do know each other, and there's got to be some level of respect there. Chief Keef knew King Von. You know what I mean? So when you got NBA Youngboy coming out the feds and actually taking shots at somebody that you're pretty much going to fall back. I think you're pretty much going to fall back from the situation. Now, that's not saying Chief Keef couldn't use a boost right now. You know, I certainly got to agree that Chief Keef needs a boost in his sales, in his the rate of attention he gets. Nobody is really all that interested in Chief Keef anymore when it comes to his music. Or it's just the fact that we don't see Chief Keef. He's not doing videos as continuously as he once was. I think this could be, if they were to work together, it could have been a good step in the direction of Chief Keef getting his name back out there. But in all honesty, I got to bring up what just happened. We got to bring up the fact that DaBaby, who's facing a similar career crisis as Chief Keef, just not because of the same reasons, a career downward spiral. DaBaby worked with NBA Youngboy, and it didn't do really nothing. It didn't really do nothing. Nobody's talking about it anymore. It's kind of in one ear and out the other. Syracuse was popping. Major salute to Syracuse in the building. Nah, bro. I only smoke Dutches, to be honest with you. I smoke Dutches. Bobby Digital says any publicity is good publicity. Well, I mean, that's why Chief Keef came back and responded to these reports. And I think it's because it's not good publicity. I don't think it is good publicity to actually have it out there that you did something you didn't do. You know what I mean? Gibbs got business with Well, more like Gibbs got busy with Capo. Vanguardian TV says 20K though, and you had a J. Cole single. It was actually 19,500, I want to say. It was actually 19,500, I want to say. J. Cruz says Gibbs got more flow pockets. But right now, Benny the Butcher is leading the poll, you guys. If anybody wants to vote in the poll, Better MC, Benny the Butcher, Freddie Gibbs, or Ty, they're both lit. Let me know what you guys think. Land Hustle TV, what's popping with you? Appreciate everybody on the tap in tonight, man. Yeah, Ransom is dope. You already know T2. I'm gonna stay consistent dropping this heat. Sean Baglife, what's up, man? Appreciate y'all for tapping in. We ain't even through it all yet, man. We're just getting in. This is a great conversation, man. Major love to Canada, yo. Yup, Vanilla Dutch, baby. Sosa is home team all day. Yeah, like I was just saying, I was trying to expound on if Chief Keef did record new material with NBA Youngboy, would it be popping? You know what I mean? Because we just said the same. Like I said it in my head. I was like, oh shit, NBA Youngboy working with the baby? No brainer. That shit's gonna do crazy. 30,000 units first week. You know what I mean? They did Freddie Gibbs numbers first week. And these are arguably two A-listers coming together. So I'm gonna have to pull a Kanye here, you guys. NBA Youngboy doesn't have the answers. I'm pulling a Kanye. NBA Youngboy does not have the answer. I mean, he does streams on his own, but he's not going to save your career. West Virginia in the building. Yep, 19,500, which are pretty good units for an independent album. A lot of people getting it confused that the Tana Talk 4 album is actually his mainstream debut. A lot of people are getting it confused that Mikey T isn't smoking runs. I am, and I will continue to be. Q the Barber, major salute. Appreciate you for tapping in. I love everybody tapped in, man. Wait till we get rich. Wait till we get rich. It's going to be crazy as hell. Schizo. Show you the runs. I'm just messing with you, man. But I didn't pull. I didn't pull two twice. I didn't pull one twice. I'll tell you that much. Yo, El Capitan, I appreciate you for tapping in. Major salute to West Philly. You know I love Philly, man. You know I love every state that taps in. Let me know what state you're coming from, man. We got great conversation tonight. Great conversation tonight. Let's get back into it, man. So the whole thing is Benny exposed that dude, Freddie Gibbs, he said, how can you hate on someone you begged to do an album with? A fan commented back and said, I'm tired of these young brothers blessed with talent always going at each other. And I'm really shocked that Benny actually highlighted this, responded to it. You know what I mean? It actually showed a lot because Benny wanted to put it out there. He wanted to say it. You seen me hating on somebody? He wanted to keep it real. He just said one simple statement about Freddie Gibbs. He said, working with Freddie Gibbs came and went. To be honest with you, it's all love. You know what I mean? It's like when an artist let's use a director. When a director would go to MMG and work with Mass Pike Miles and Gunplay, and then they made their way up to Rick Ross and MMG. It would be the same type of statement. Working with Gunplay came and it went. To be honest with you, it's all love. You'll always go back there. I mean, Benny's the type of dude who has recorded songs for people who are from the industry who haven't been on in quite some time. Benny has done this. How many times does Benny have to do that? You know what I mean? Before it starts to chip away at his celebrity. This is one thing you got to understand, man. You know, Benny is trying to hold his credibility as an artist together. You know, when you are getting the opportunity to do tracks with Drake, you can't necessarily turn back and keep on doing all the records with Freddie Gibbs. Like, I'm just being 100% real. Yeah, I had heard about that, about Freddie Gibbs taking some other shots. I wasn't too familiar with it. So, you know what I mean? I didn't hear it myself. You know what I'm saying? I didn't hear it myself, so I don't really want to speak on it. I usually only tend to report on things that I've actually heard artists say, things that we've heard in songs. You know what I'm saying? Gibbs needs to stop. I mean, right now he's stirring up problems with three people I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, and then if you consider what happened with Jeezy back in the day, I mean, he's got the biggest blogger, academics, in a frenzy with him. You know, they're going through a bunch of bullshit. He's got Benny the Butcher now, and then he had that whole incident with Jim Jones. Like, he needs to relax because he just put out an album. Oh, and I just thought about another one because he just put out an album, Alfredo, that actually sold some units. He needs to build on that. He needs to build on his fan base, sort of like Lil Durk did when Lil Durk released his The Voice album. Then he came out with the Heroes album with Little Baby, and he followed up with the 7220 album. He followed up. But you know what? Freddie Gibbs was expecting to follow up. He was expecting to follow up with a Benny the Butcher album. It's evident. He was expecting to follow up with a Benny the Butcher album. The only thing is, you know, it's cool you put Benny on, you know, you helped him out. I'm not saying put on like that because there's a lot of different situations that put Benny the Butcher on. I mean, the man was called up to BET and shit like that. But, you know, what you did, hold on one second, I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad, bro. Yes, and Gunna. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought because that's the next person I was talking about. Gunna actually dissed Freddie Gibbs. What did Freddie Gibbs do? Freddie Gibbs kind of did the best thing you could do in that situation, I'll have to say. You know, aside from respond to the track, which Freddie says he will be doing, Freddie Gibbs took the record, he took it to one of his concerts, he listened to it, he mocked it. You know what I mean? So Freddie Gibbs is playing right. He's playing right now. When you got all of his all the people that are messing with him right now are A-list celebrities. So Freddie Gibbs is doing something right. We haven't really heard his name within these, you know, these levels in the last few years. You know what I'm saying? So right now he's doing some things right. Now, if he's on the brunt end of, you know, a table or a chair, you know, that's something he might need to address with himself. You know, sometimes you should just stay home. You know what I mean? Sometimes you should just go to Publix or Stop and Shop and get your steak. But that's another story. I'm not sure, George, if there's anything going on with Freddie Gibbs and Uncle Murda. Uncle Murda, I think, didn't Uncle Murda just apologize to Will, though, or something like that? Appreciate you, Jay Wavy. Salute, Mikey T. Peace and blessings. Do your thing, brother. Do your thing. Ooh, yep. Funk. Funk in here. He said, "Come on, I went to a concert in Detroit when he headlined, and Butch was a feature." We're gonna get into that in just a second as well. Freddie Gibbs pointing out opening opportunities for tours. He points out situation with Drake. Couple different things, man. T2 says Benny's got to slow down. He can't handle the spotlight. I disagree, T2. I think Benny is doing just well handling the spotlight at this point in time. You know what I mean? I feel like he is really growing at a rapid pace. Like I was saying, when you are in a position to do projects with some of the A-list celebrities, you really can't go back and do a project with a Freddie Gibbs. Like, in all honesty, like Benny the Butcher would kind of look crazy going back and doing a project with somebody like a Lloyd Banks. Maybe not Lloyd Banks, because Lloyd Banks has crazy proven history. But yeah, like this day and age, Benny the Butcher can't be working with somebody that is not of the elite class. Just simple as that. And I hate to put Lloyd Banks in that category, but because Lloyd Banks started off selling 400,000 units first week, but after his first album, shit quickly depleted. Gibbs is elite, Funk said. I appreciate you for tapping in, Funk, as well. And I missed your comment about Gunna, but that's dope. Yeah, the last album. But I thought he would be giving us more. You know what I mean? I thought he would be giving us more. But when did that album drop? I think it was only about 6 months ago. Banks over Griselda? Well, you got to really, that's a hard one to judge because I would take Meek Mill over Lloyd Banks. You know what I'm saying? But the eras are just kind of different. The eras, the styles, but the sales are a bit similar. Now, Meek Mill has never moved nearly the amount of units as Lloyd Banks. Banks has moved over 200,000 more units in one single week than Meek Mill. Banks' highest sales 440, Meek's highest sales 250. So that's 190,000 units in between them. But Banks never duplicated those sales again. Banks' second album, Rotten Apple, only moved 150,000 units. Banks' third album, Hunger for More, only moved 50,000 units. And that 50,000 units is just as much as an MMG compilation self-made album would move in a week. So you really got to look into it, man. Meek Mill, once he sold 130, 40, whatever it was for that first album, he never went back down in the sales again. He always climbed in his sales. He took Lloyd Banks' spot, in my opinion, as the right-hand man. But what is the right-hand man supposed to do, you guys? Kanye West, the right-hand man of Jay-Z, what does he do? He goes on to be a celebrity. The status of which Jay-Z can say, yes, he went and he eclipsed me to a certain degree. That one's a little debatable. Lloyd Banks was supposed to go and do that with 50 Cent. Meek Mill eclipsed Rick Ross. Rotten Apple was a dope album, King Chev. I really like the album. I've always said that I like Hands Up more than On Fire. I'm more of a Hands Up than On Fire guy. He had Help with Carrie Hilson. He had Cake. He had a bunch of good records on there, man. But it was released too late. They released that album 2 years and like 2 months after his debut album. Yeah, George, I only answer those questions if they're in a super chat, to be honest with you. Yep, that's why I'm making those comparisons, Funk. We lived through it, man. I feel like we lived, Now, it sucks that I came into the game right after Pac and Big passed away, but I respect their work. You know what I mean? Obviously, I've gone back and looked at, their albums and Jay's earlier albums and Nas's earlier albums and Snoop and so on. You know what I'm saying? But I actually came into the game right after that era, man. I was about 9, 10 years old when I first really got started, learning about music and shit like that. Nah, Joe, Meek Mill is not in any way blackballed. Meek Mill is an amazing artist, man. There's no way Meek Mill is blackballed when his last project, Expensive Pain, actually moved 85,000 units out of nowhere. And I know that's not all that much, you guys, but it came out of nowhere. Look at the album cover. It was more of a project than you would ever see. It wasn't, I don't really put it up there with The Dream's Worth More Than Money. I don't really put it up there with Championships, you guys. But let's get back into it, man. So Benny said, I ain't mess up. I know everyone don't see everything. You can tell by the comments. And someone replied to that, yup, he messed up. Now, I didn't really know what that was in reference to, but I was reading a couple websites and they said that Freddie Gibbs had taken a shot at Benny the Butcher after what happened in Texas at the Walmart. Now, a lot of people were attempting to give Benny the Butcher advice after that melee that happened. Yeah, a lot of people were attempting to give advice. What he heard, what he didn't heard, we don't know. He hasn't really spoke on that so much. If anybody said something that rubbed him the wrong way, we don't really know because I haven't heard him speak on it so much. In Benny's interviews, he doesn't diss other rappers. I pretty much watch all of his interviews. You know what I mean? He doesn't. Somebody in the chat, tell me if I'm missing it, but Benny doesn't diss other rappers. Never have I seen it. Oh no, GTA 5? What do you mean the GTA 5, brother? Yep, keep it hip hop. Keep it hip hop. So 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 Freddie has not been taking the approach of, not talking about it. Freddie has posted several things. He's posted several times on social media. He said, dude's whole marketing plan for the album is to beef with Freddie Gibbs. That's cute. I never heard of that one, Freddie. I never heard of that one. I did hear of the marketing plan that many people use to actually diss 50 Cent. You know what I mean? Tony Yayo had spoke on that. He said, if you diss 50 Cent, you will get the best promotion of your career for a certain amount of time. If you're a bad boy artist and you diss Puff, you're going to get a certain amount of marketing for your career. But after all the shock value, after all the glamour and glitz of your story has gone away, you're not going to have the same machine behind you that you did when Bad Boy was pumping your shit. You know what I mean? So think about it like that. Think about it like that. At the end of the day, are you going to have the same marketing ability once you try to tear down this whole establishment that put you on? Stu says, seems like Gibbs is burning a whole lot of bridges in the industry. Benny said a simple thing. Working with Freddie Gibbs came and went. I don't think that's something that needed Gibbs going all the way up about. You know what I mean? I don't think he really needed to respond the way that he did. I think he took it a little bit far. Sometimes you can respond behind closed doors. I mean, especially if Freddie Gibbs had intentions of creating an album with Benny the Butcher. How about you go and talk to him behind the scenes? How about you settle up with him behind the scenes, Get the project signed off on before you go through all this bullshit. Benny the Butcher has a lot of projects that he's not going to be able to release. Just like Drake has to sign off on the release of his project. We know this as fans. We've heard about it. We've seen it. We've seen artists removed from tracks. We saw when Irv Gotti had Jennifer Lopez remove 50 Cent off of the It's Gonna Be All Right record. We saw in the past different things happen where Birdman wouldn't clear Lil Wayne to get on tracks. You know what I'm saying? Hell, I could come on here every day and moan and complain about how Benny the Butcher never put out the album with Dark Low. But do you see me doing that? No, we move on. We continue. We prosper. You know what I'm saying? We don't harp on things like that we know are out of our control. Benny the Butcher is making movement in the industry to the point where Drake wants to work with him. You know, there's a difference when Drake wants to shout you out, when Drake wants to sign you to his label, when Drake wants to work with you. What's the majority of the thing that happens to all of those people that get affected by Drake in whatever situation? The thing is, they all cash out. The thing is, they all cake up. Even Ab told me, based on a shout out, that he caked up. Hell, artists like Party Next Door, artists like McConan, artists like The Weeknd. I mean, The Weeknd is out of here, but artists like McConan and Party Next Door, we will never forget their names just because of Drake. I'm not harping, bro. I'm not harping. You see, I could have made a video. I could have made 10 videos. I could have made 10 videos about Dark Low and Dark Low and Benny the Butcher supposed to making a project together. I can make a video about how Benny the Butcher played me some of the tracks. I can make a video about how Dark Low told me this and that about it. But no, man. I understand the circumstances behind that. You know, just like Freddie Gibbs being a grown man in the industry, somebody that was actually signed to Jeezy. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that was signed to Jeezy, you would expect him to know a little bit of the business etiquette. You know, but then again, they all did mess up that Young Jeezy album that he was trying to put out. Yeah, The Weeknd is an amazing talent, man. Yeah, The Weeknd, those ballads, whoo, those power ballads, amazing. T2 says Dark Low over Benny. Their record together was amazing. Sorry, you guys, I'm enjoying my drink. I was just reading the comments on the reel, man. I appreciate y'all for commenting, man. We got a dope stream. Let's see. James Brown, interesting comment right here. Said Benny is still going to be here in 5 years because he never tried to rap or sound like Cali or the South. He kept his own style, and it's paying off. Funk says Benny and Dark Low is both solid. Z the Great says Benny has got the East for show. Listen, if you guys haven't voted in the poll, vote right now. The better MC, is it Benny the Butcher? Is it Freddie Gibbs? Or is it a tie? Are they both lit? What do you guys think, man? So Freddie said this as well. Freddie said this, you guys. If you opened up for me before, just be grateful. If you opened up for me before, just be grateful. You know, Benny the Butcher did come out on some shows with Freddie Gibbs. I remember that, but after that, the interest in, him, it grew dramatically. Benny the Butcher went from being on shows with Freddie Gibbs to a whole lining up several different tours. I remember this. I said to my guy, I'm like, damn, yo, the amount of touring that Benny the Butcher is doing right now is amazing. Like the fact that everybody just wants Benny the Butcher on their tour, it's like crazy to me. It shows you the level of performance that he had, or it was just the level of interest that the crowd had in him. I didn't know exactly what it was. I have been to a few of Benny the Butcher's shows, but like just the way that the interest in Benny the Butcher grew from city to city. Bobby Digital says, I got Freddie over Benny. Palm of Oil is just one track that Freddie spit fire over, and I haven't heard nothing from Benny that has to yet. Whew. Clouds Clutch Corner says, I said tie for MCs, but Freddie is being a diva in Twitter attention. Huh. Hell yeah, appreciate you, man. Gunna Hing says, why is this a conversation? Benny the Butcher is clearly better. Freddie can rap, though. Well, that's why it's a conversation then, man, because you just gave both artists credit. But I will say this, that right now the tie is actually bigger. So more people have voted tie than just voted for Freddie Gibbs. Here's another big one that hit me. Freddie Gibbs said, next time, just get the Drake verse cleared and you ain't got to do all this for promo. Freddie Gibbs really nailing down on the fact that Benny the Butcher is dissing him for promo. I can tell you guys, I've already heard Tana Talk 4. I did not go to look for Tana Talk 4 because he was dissing Freddie Gibbs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really failing to understand. You know what I mean? I'm a blogger. I'm a hip hop influencer. You know what I mean? Hip hop is my life. So I'm really failing to understand where Freddie Gibbs is coming from when he says that Benny the Butcher is using this for his album promotion. That makes little to no sense to me. The man already sold the units based on the fact that the project released. You know what I'm saying? The project was heavily buzzed about project. People were waiting for it. I want to say they were waiting for it for over 6 months to a year. As soon as they, heard Tana Talk 3, we've been talking about Tana Talk 4. So it's just that the fan base grew. You know what I mean? The fan base that would actually purchase it grew. I believe Benny sold about 7,000 copies of that purely physical. So that means the other 12,000 were based on streams. That shows you how real his fan base is. Lil Durk's album, it only sold a few thousand when it came to physical copies. Z the Great says, Freddie's got a flow in lyrics, but Benny stands out more to me lyric wise. That's what I like, man. That's what I like. We're getting some real shit here. Freddie is way better than Durkio. Well, yeah, man. So very interesting poll we got up. Everybody's still voting it if you haven't. But Freddie took that low blow, that Drake low blow. You know what I mean? Where it's like, damn, man, you're going to mention Drake like that, Fred? So now you're going to blow off any chance of a relationship you have with Drake. Next time, just get Draked. Just get the Drake verse cleared, and you ain't got to do all this for promo. How's he going to take a shot at Drake, man? How's he going to use Drake's name in this, man? It's really, really not smart of Freddie Gibbs to use Drake's name like that, because now, Drake sees everything, just like you and I are seeing this. Not talking about my video in particular. I have met Drake on one occasion where we shook hands and shit. Highly doubt Drake really remembers me like that. But Drake is reading about this situation on the internet. And when Freddie Gibbs comes out and says, how about you go and get that Drake verse cleared? That's a dig. That's a dig that the whole world is reading. And when I say the whole world, I mean Drake. So that's like a low blow. You know what I mean? A low blow at what you're saying right there. East Coast Connect says Drake is going to clear the verse this summer. I wouldn't be shocked if Drake says to his people, yo, clear that verse now. If people want to treat Benny the Butcher like he ain't him, as they say. There's a certain reason why Drake reaches out to artists like a Young Blue. You know what I mean? There's certain reasons why Drake reaches out to artists like Benny the Butcher. You know what I mean? It's because of their ability to make music. You know what I'm saying? It's their ability to make music and shit like that. Their ability to carry themselves in the industry. Freddie Gibbs might have just X'd himself off of a Drake collaboration ever. I'm smoking on some runts, man. I'm smoking on some runts. So now we got to add Drake to that list, Peasy. Now we got to add Drake to the list. So we got, for Freddie Gibbs' list, we've got Benny the Butcher. We've got DJ Academics. We've got Jim Jones. We've got Gunna. And now we've got Drake. 5 people that Freddie Gibbs is rubbing the wrong way. Yeah, just regular runts, bro. Just regular runts. Not like the purple or the black or the pink or the white runts. Whole bunch of different runts, huh? Oh, Kenny must not be talking to me in the chat. So Freddie goes, why would I beg a dude to work with me when he does less than me? Why would I beg a dude to work with me when he does less than me? Huh. So I had to do a little bit of research because I seem to remember seeing the record sales for Freddie Gibbs' last album. I was like, yo, damn, Freddie Gibbs might have a point here. Freddie Gibbs might have a point here because I seem to remember he moved about 30,000 units. Yep, Freddie Gibbs had a major point. But let's and he debuted at number 15 as well, you guys. Love sorry, I was just reading the comment. But yeah, so he debuted at number 15 on Billboard. He actually moved 30,000 units. So Fred actually has a point when he says that, you guys. That why would he beg? Why would I beg a dude to work with me when he does less than me? But we got to really analyze that. We really got to analyze that point. We got to analyze that point, man, because let's see. In 2011, Freddie Gibbs announced that he had wow, that he had signed a deal with CTE Records. Freddie Gibbs signed with CTE Records in 2011, you guys. This is literally 11 years ago. Literally 11 years ago, you guys. Benny the Butcher hasn't had that type of time in the industry. Benny the Butcher released Tana Talk 3 in 2018, you guys. So for Freddie Gibbs to compare the sales right there, it's really not, it's not justified to compare those sales. You have been promoting your career for the last 12 years. You know what I mean? Like on a realistic basis to where you were signed with Young Jeezy. Like, am I the only blogger pointing out these facts? I'm just wondering. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to be real about some shit. You know what I'm saying? But Benny the Butcher's not going to post me on his Instagram tomorrow like these guys post all those other bloggers. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just going to keep it real. Bro, Funk. Honestly, bro. Do you really need me to say something that I just said again? Like, honestly, I'm talking about being signed to a reputable label, a majorly reputable label. Yeah, 2017. CTE. CTE. Oh, my bad, Funk. CTE. Shady Records. CTE signed Freddie Gibbs in 2011. Shady Records didn't even sign Benny the Butcher. They signed Conway and Westside Gunn in 2017. So just take that into consideration. What up, Finch? Appreciate you for tapping in. Funk says CTE did not promote Freddie Gibbs. Hmm. See, that's why I appreciate Funk adding to the conversation. For sure, though. Freddie made it bigger, especially with the Mad Lib collabs. Okay, we got some people in here that actually, yeah. This is a historical chat tonight, man. You already know. I appreciate everybody adding to the conversation. Yeah, the Mad Lib collabs. And the Alfredo album actually was actually his joint he did with the Alchemist. So teaming up with people is something that Freddie does, So I don't think it's pretty far-fetched to speculate that he was planning on doing something with Benny the Butcher. Benny just got a little bit caught up. You know what I mean? Benny got a little bit caught up. Mikey T, is Benny in your top 5? Is Benny in your top 5? Well, top thing is kind of hard. I'm kind of like I mess with like AR Rab and Max B, some older Young Thug. You know what I'm saying? These are the type of music that I like to listen to. You know what I mean? Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun, definitely dope. I really like West Side Gun's voice. So boom, right there. There's the top 5 right there. AR Rab, Max B, Young Thug, Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun. Oh yeah, Prodigy, rest in peace. Mobb Deep, Prodigy solo stuff. Some of my favorite music ever. Well, T2, that wasn't the case actually. That really wasn't the case. Benny the Butcher had said something in an interview where, Freddie Gibbs was disrespected. Freddie Gibbs was actually just disrespected by what Benny the Butcher said, as subtle as it was. You know what I mean? As subtle as it was, Freddie Gibbs was disrespected by that, man. He must be a Gemini. You know what I'm saying? He must be a Gemini because us Geminis, we just get crazy when people be saying shit about us, man. Appreciate you, T2. Does Freddie have a bigger fan base? At this point in time, Freddie Gibbs may have a bigger purchasing fan base. At this point in time, Freddie Gibbs might have a bigger purchasing fan base, and that's only evident because of the record sales. Now, I just pointed out that the Alchemist did the Alfredo album with him, you guys. So Alchemist was a factor in that. Alchemist did projects with, Prodigy. You know what I'm saying? Didn't they do Return of the Mac together? Was that solely produced by Alchemist? Love that Prodigy album. Yep. 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 Hell yeah, Funk. you always got to see when we do these live streams, you always got to see both perspectives, but you were respectful about it, man. Sometimes other people will just be a little disrespectful. You can't really uh, converse with that. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you being on the respectful tip. James says, I'm a Gemini. T2 says, are you June 6th? No, I'm actually June 11th. I'm actually June 11th. But let me see. Here we go. Hold on. I'm sorry, you guys. So like I said, Freddie Gibbs actually put Benny the Butcher on his Alfredo album. His album Alfredo actually moved 30,000 units first week. That was a collaboration album if you really want to use that as a comparison basis, collaboration from artist to producer. Freddie Gibbs also posted this interesting message that, I found it to be interesting. Gibbs said, just because the wrapper is wrinkled, don't mean the candy ain't sweet. I feel like this is in reference to his earlier career, signing with Young Jeezy, as I had mentioned earlier. I feel like it's in regard to that because that's what the majority of the world knows him for. And now he's coming out on this different type of time. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of want to let like that saying kind of make sense to Freddie Gibbs. Just because he's a little bit wrinkled or just because it's a little bit it's been sitting on the shelf a little bit doesn't mean you can't, or hanging up in the closet for a little bit of time. It doesn't mean you can't dust it off and put it on. Freddie Gibbs obviously still has a fan base. I'm gonna say that he has a bigger purchasing fan base than Benny the Butcher right now, just based on the fact of his album moved 10,000 more units than Benny's. Was the album better? No, it was not. Freddie Gibbs is not my cup of tea compared to Benny the Butcher. You know what I'm saying? Just not. Alchemist over most producers. Freddie's best stuff was before Alfredo. Well, I do believe that his best sales was actually the 30,000 first week, but in all honesty, like his release schedules, his releases in general got screwed up. You know what I mean? His career kind of got put on hold. That is another comparison between Benny the Butcher and Freddie Gibbs. But Benny the Butcher has said in interviews before that Tana Talk 3 sat on the shelf for over a year before it was released. Conway even said his new album sat on the shelf for over a year before it was released. So I'm not really sure so much that you can use that argument. But we have seen artists over the years sitting up on a label for several years and just never releasing projects. Like look what I said, what they did to Lloyd Banks. And that drastically impacted his sales, I would have to believe. Lloyd Banks went from moving 440,000 first week in 2004 to not being able to release an album until 2006, and then he only sold 150,000 units. Just the simple fact of the matter. Let me get some of this juice in me, you guys. We're going to get that Red Bull sponsor too, man. As soon as I get these crazy ass sponsors, just imagine, like, bro, imagine what the sponsor from Red Bull is going to be. Imagine what the sponsor from Bel Air is going to be. And imagine what the sponsor from Cookies is going to be. Imagine when I get all those sponsors. I don't know nothing about that, T2, to be honest with you, bro. All right, so Freddie said, I ain't mad. They just Freddie said, I ain't mad. I know they're doing it just for promo. I've already discussed that. I really don't agree or understand what he means by that. But Gunna had dissed Freddie Gibbs and he used it for promo, right? So is that why Freddie Gibbs sort of understands the situation? Benny the Butcher using Freddie Gibbs for promo. So now Gunna says something about Gibbs. So Gibbs uses it for promo. I get it. I get it. I mean, I'm not the type of dude that every time somebody disses me, I use it for promo. I'm not really that type of dude. Somebody disses me, I sort of just try to forget it ever happened. You know what I mean? I try to move away from the situation. You know what I mean? I try to put out 50 blogs and just move on. You know what I mean? Other people just, when they get dissed, when some, like in this whole situation, when Freddie Gibbs, heard what Benny said, he just couldn't help himself. It's sort of like responding to a comment on the YouTube, comment section. It's like you shouldn't, you want to, you really shouldn't though, But in this situation, Gunna's the hottest dude in the game. Gunna is arguably hotter than Young Thug. Or is it arguably or obviously? That is the point of the game, though. You want an artist to blow up bigger than you. If I put a blogger on, if Mikey T, the movie star, puts a blogger on, I want him to be bigger than me. That is the point of it. You're not supposed to be jealous of the dude. You're not supposed to throw a monkey wrench into the dude's machine. You know what I mean? That's not, 50 Cent ruined $500 million by kicking the game out of G Unit. You know what I'm saying? He burned $500,000. But Freddie Gibbs is going to take advantage of this. Gunna disses him? Gunna disses Freddie Gibbs? You kidding me? This is the biggest artist yet that has dissed Freddie Gibbs. Until Drake comes out and says, I cleared that feature because of what Freddie Gibbs said. Until then, Gunna is number one. But yeah, man, Gunna moved a shitload of units. Gunna moved more units than Young Thug. That's why I was kind of bringing up that whole thing earlier about Young Thug and Lyor Cohen with the Migos album. Sometimes, people won't be allowed to work with others because they're like, yo, chill out, man. You're too big to do that shit. You're too big to do that shit, man. So Gunna dissed Freddie Gibbs, and Freddie also tweeted, he said, Petty, Freddie, in full effect, album on the way. Album on the way, you guys, from Freddie Gibbs. I guess we can expect an album from Freddie Gibbs where he's going to be taking shots at Benny the Butcher, where he's going to be taking shots at apparently Gunna. He's going to get at Gunna. We'll have to see what else he does, man. Obviously, he's going to go at Jim Jones. What is this going to be? Freddie Gibbs' Blood in My Eye album? Is this going to be his Blood in My Eye joint? Jeezy mad Gibbs couldn't get bigger than him. Well, I feel like Jeezy didn't really give his artist the opportunity to grow, man. Sometimes, the way that Jeezy came into the game, he actually was trying to get all of his homies to rap. Like Jeezy put together the studio. I don't know if you guys remember reading the story about young Jeezy, how he came into the game or hearing it when he first got into the game. But Jeezy had a studio for all of his homies to record. None of his homies would come and record. So Jeezy started recording himself, and look what he became. He had the perfect voice. He he apparently had the perfect look. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people might have said, Jeezy, you just kind of look average. You know what I mean? You just, you know what I mean? There's nothing that really stands out about you, Jeezy. You're not the biggest, tallest guy like the G Unit dudes were. All them dudes were like 6'5". You guys remember when they signed Mobb Deep, it was like they had the smallest dudes signed to them and shit like that. But one thing that Jeezy had that you could not deny is I would have to say the voice, man. And then when the voice came in and the way that he did the snowman merchandise, it was like, damn, it was apparent. It was just apparent, Jeezy just fit the bill, man. He was new. He wasn't the typical rapper that, you know what I mean? Like who the guys that he would want to sign. Like he'd probably talking to his homies like, yo, man, this would be the perfect shit for you. When you're not, sometimes when you don't think you're the perfect fit, you actually are, man. You know, young Jeezy fit right into hip hop, man. We accepted him with really open arms, man. It's crazy. I'm kind of blessed to have got to witness him coming into the game, man. Appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. This is what we do on a regular basis here, every night on the channel, man. Just make sure you're subscribed. Just make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss these discussions. Mikey T, you know everything. Well, Bobby, at one point, Jeezy did actually sign under Diddy and I want to say Blockwork Entertainment. That's when Jeezy was a part of the Boys in the Hood. But Jeezy was eventually replaced when they did their second album. You could kind of tell back in the day that, you know, Jeezy was the standout of the Boys in the Hood. I believe he was replaced with Jody Breeze. They sold a few records. So, you know, Diddy was doing the Bad Boy South thing. So he kind of wanted to continue it and see if he could make it work. I believe Jody ended up signing with Bad Boy South as well. But as we had just discussed, sometimes artists will end up sitting on labels for many years and never putting out a full album. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man, for tapping in East Coast Connect. Facts, Mikey. Appreciate you, Bobby. What was that? What was that Gucci exposed, Funk? So, guys, moving on from that, we got to talk about Lil Durk and NBA Youngboy. Because a little bit earlier today, I was on No Jumpers page. You know, Adam22, the guy really took the whole internet by storm with his podcasting ability, man. And so I saw this joint. That seemed to be like a new record from Chief Keef and NBA Youngboy. And I was like, yo, this is nuts. I'm like, this is nuts. Has Chief Keef finally made it, recognized who he is going to team with? Is Chief Keef choosing a side? I was a little bit weirded out by that whole shit, man. I'm like, nah. I'm like, Chief Keef ain't going to choose no side in this situation. I'm like, Chief Keef is not, even though he has issue with Lil Durk, even though they've been going through it for a number of years over God knows what, you know what I'm saying? I think they're going through it for a couple things that aren't exactly known to the general public. But I don't think Chief Keef would do something this bad, this disparaging to his crew. NBA Youngboy took it a little bit too far, you guys. NBA Youngboy took it a little bit too far after what happened to King Von. You know what I'm saying? Mentioning it, the whole incident on his new project Colors, it really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, especially Lil Durk, who now has officially responded. Aha, pissed me off. A couple records Lil Durk has actually responded on. So yeah, Chief Keef actually came out and said that this was an old record. Chief Keef also said the record wasn't released because he didn't think NBA Youngboy liked the track. You know, a little bit odd to me, you know, because the two actually sounded good together on this the track was called like Pistols or something like that. Hold on, let me see what the track is called. It's not their Fireman joint because they had dropped a record together a few years ago called Fireman. But this was a new record that there was only a snippet out of on the No Jumper page, but it was actually debunked. It was actually debunked as an old song. Chief Keef actually made it. He actually let everybody know that the record was old and shit like that because he didn't want it to go any further. He didn't want it to go any further because that that starting to spread could be bad. I'm actually from Connecticut, and I did a live stream on Will Smith the other day, Tyshawn. Yep, so Chief Keef had him on Fireman, but the record is called, the other record that they had was called Keep a Pistol, right? So on the track, on that track, Chief Keef actually said, "My paint's invisible." Talking about that he painted his gun invisible and shit. It's kind of like a paintball thing. Yeah, it's whack that NBA Youngboy and Lil Durk are beefing. I've said this on a few different occasions. I think it's whack that NBA Youngboy got out of the feds and used his first album back to actually talk about the King Von situation, to shout out Little Tim. I think it's all in bad taste. Obviously the whole internet is buzzing about, what Chief Keef is going to do. A lot of people are waiting to see what Chief Keef does next because they're always waiting to see if Chief Keef is going to diss Little Durk. You know what I mean? We've seen these two slightly go at it back in the day, subliminally. Oh shit, no, I'm not smoking on this, but I got some of this Irish Cannonball. I got some of this GMO. I got some of this Runts. Yeah, Funk. They certainly do have beef. They certainly do. We've seen them work together a little bit over the years. I can really only remember one record outside of, earlier shit. I can only really remember one record in recent years. And when I say recent years, I mean like 2016 probably. Maybe before that. You know what I mean? Chief Keef, allegedly didn't pay Little Durk's bond. You know what I mean? He kind of pulled some 50 Cent Bang 'em Smurf shit on Little Durk. That's what the allegedly is. Back in 2013, Little Durk actually had $100,000 bail. And back in 2013, Little Durk was a much different artist than he is. He had got in trouble in 2011, 2013, 2014. Shit. He even kept on getting in trouble when he was a major celebrity in 2019, but that's a whole nother story. Darren says, how can you tell when the bud is top shelf? If you're getting something that is over 20%, the shit's going to be hitting. You know what I mean? If you're getting something that's like 17, 18%, you should pretty much just be prepared for a normal time. Now, if you're getting something that is like this, 29%, just be ready to feel that shit all morning, pretty much. So the record, I think it was called Slinging Pistols. No, they're saying Keep a Pistol, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So that's actually, Chief Keef is saying that's an old record that was never released. As we do know, they had a track called Fireman together that was officially released, but that was released over a year ago. I thought I seen it was released over 2 years ago, but that's neither here nor there. When Chief Keef had first connected with NBA Youngboy, the situation wasn't as thick. You know what I mean? The situation wasn't as crazy. At this point in time, even though Chief Keef has opposition with Little Durk, at this point in time, I think it would just be ultimately disrespectful if Chief Keef were to end up on a song with NBA Youngboy. Now, I could be totally wrong, you guys. I could be totally wrong. Well, actually, Chief Keef said just recently that he didn't think NBA Youngboy liked the song. So if NBA Youngboy theoretically didn't like the song, why would he go back to work with Chief Keef again? That's why I was saying I could be wrong, and Chief Keef and NBA Youngboy could do a mixtape tomorrow and sell 1,000,000 copies. You know what I'm saying? So, they could. Now, that wasn't exactly the results of DaBaby and NBA Youngboy. You know what I mean? That wasn't exactly their results. So, but another thing, you guys, a lot of people in the industry, they don't really be messing with Chief Keef like that. I think a lot of people in the industry don't find Chief Keef to be as musically inclined as Lil Durk is. That's just something that I'm going to end this poll right here. Benny the Butcher got Freddie Gibbs. Even a tie got Freddie Gibbs. I'm going to end the poll because I want to start this new poll right here, you guys. Joseph says, Chief Keef and Youngboy coming. I'm going to buy it. Well, Joe, let me ask you. Maybe you're just a Chief Keef guy, but did you actually cop the album? Did you stream the album with DaBaby and NBA Youngboy? Let me ask you that. Or is it just necessarily a Chief Keef thing? Because I know a lot of people do mess with certain shit just because it's Chief Keef. All right, I'm putting up a poll, you guys. I'm putting up a poll for you guys. YB looks up to Sosa. A lot of people look up to Sosa. You know what I mean? He's a lot of people's favorite. Sosa said he didn't feel like YB liked the song, though. He says he didn't feel. Now, I honestly thought the way that they recorded it together, like NBA Youngboy went, and I came from the slums where they bang, a Youngboy and folk on them great. I think they paired up really well on the song, to be honest with you. I felt like they had a natural chemistry to a certain extent where you could hear the one guy because you only want one guy singing most of the time. You know what I'm saying? You only want the one guy harmonizing. You need some pressure on the other end. You know what I'm saying? So I thought they made a pretty good duo when it came to them recording Fireman, for example, but I just think right now the situation is a little bit too tense. No Limit says no, Sosa doesn't mess with them. Now, are you saying that in regard to why he would do a song with NBA Youngboy? Sosa doesn't mess with the industry, never has. Yeah, NBA Youngboy said he didn't mess with the industry either. On his last project, he was saying how much he didn't mess with the industry. And you saw that when no feature was on Colors, aside from Quando Rondo. And then also he took shots at, Gucci Man for even working with Lil Durk, pretty much going after every single artist that would work with Lil Durk. Yeah, so I know NBA Youngboy does not mess with the industry. East Coast Connect is saying Keef is just saying that he wanted NBA Youngboy to drop that instantly. Well, if the record was recorded a few years ago, you know what I mean? I think that the release of it would come with in a different way. It was just reported that NBA Youngboy is making like close to $20 million a year, $15 million a year off of his YouTube page. the popularity of NBA Youngboy has gone up drastically. You know what I mean? Over the last few years, his core fan base is really there. Um, there's no telling what's going to happen with this guy in the future as long as he doesn't go to jail. You know what I mean? This guy's going to make tons of money, especially with everything in the pandemic coming to an end and people being able to tour, concert venues being opening. You know what I mean? There's going to be a real ability for NBA Youngboy to do some touring with guys like DaBaby, Chief Keef. Probably not going to happen. Appreciate you for tapping in the catch up. Major respect on the tap in. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Trench Baby says Durk is the hardest, but YB has got more plaques. YB been raw since he popped off. Yeah, when I first saw YB a number of years ago on World Star Hip Hop, it was not too long after that he popped off. Probably a year before he really started to, get money. Now trying to remember, because when I first read about NBA Youngboy, he was going through quite the circumstance. It looked like NBA Youngboy was going to be going away for a very serious charge when I first caught attention of him. Really finding it hard to remember the year that I came, in contact with NBA Youngboy and first saw his video on World Star Hip Hop. Yep. Well, all right. So you want me to compare and contrast what NBA Youngboy and Lil Durk were when they first came out? You don't want to go there, man. We don't want to go there. Let's just keep it at where they are. You know what I mean? Because in all honesty, when NBA Youngboy first came out, he was in Soldier Boy's inbox. He was in all these dudes' inbox. Yo, I'm an upcoming artist. I want you to sign me. Please sign me. Work with me. Lil Durk, when Chief Keef popped off, Lil Durk and Lil Reese were sought after by Def Jam. Def Jam Records came and picked Lil Durk up. I'm not too sure about Lil Reese's situation. Not too sure if he ever signed and got dropped. I'm not 100% sure. But those were the three guys that were looked at. NBA Youngboy put up a video on World Star when he caught a serious charge, and he put it on the description that he was probably going to go away for life. If you're remembering this properly, you guys. That is the first time I ever got, because Max B's case was just ending. So I'm really thinking this was around 2012 or something like that, because Max B's case had ended in 2009. And NBA Youngboy popped up, and he had a similar case where he was facing a life sentence, and then he beat that case. And then you knew it was sky's the limit for that kid. But then he ran into the whole situation with calling himself NBA. Yep, exactly, Trench. Exactly. Yeah, East Coast. When Dirk's first album came out, you see, Dirk got an opportunity to drop his first album with Def Jam. The Remember My Name album had a dope cover. You know what I mean? It had a dope single with Jeremiah. It got dope play. You know what I'm saying? Dirk went around and made sure of that by going to all of the nightclubs. Like I witnessed Dirk go to all the nightclubs and put out This Ain't What You Want and really start to build that buzz and connect with all of the DJs out there, whether it was Epps or whether it was Bulletproof or whatever DJs. Damn. The catch up says, really don't compare. Dirk is right where right where he needs to be as far as goes. He's getting paid from his label, plus the legal problems Dirk faced. Yeah, they both have faced several legal problems. Dirk was facing legal problems before he was even able to afford them. You know, Dirk was in a position where his career could have been taken from him on multiple occasions. You know, reading through some of the stuff over the years and now seeing the outcome of Dirk's career, you would have had to believe back in the day that they must have thought Dirk wasn't going to become anything. They must have thought Dirk was public enemy number one. But look at what Dirk has become. Dirk has become one of the biggest artists in the world. I don't even want to just say the country anymore. You know what I mean? What these guys are doing goes much deeper than that. Little Dirk is going to be remembered. What was his first album called? Remember My Name. What's his latest album called? It's 7220. It's based on his grandmother's home. You know what I mean? Everybody, we all know, looking in as fans of hip hop. I mean, shit, another person that grew up at his grandmother's house was 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? The Drake feature definitely kicked in. Well, the catch up, I don't know if you were here, but I'd also said Little Durk releasing his album The Voice and selling about 89,000 copies in 8 days. That album, and then working with Little Baby on the Heroes album, which sold 150,000 copies in the first week. That those two plus the Drake record, yep, you're 100% right. All of that started combining. All of those, everything started, churning. You know what I mean? Everything started rolling for Little Durk, and this is what it's resulted in. His new album is his biggest album. This album sold double what Chief Keef's debut, Finally Rich, sold, you guys. Now, he didn't sell as much as DaBaby. DaBaby has sold 145,000 copies first week. He did not sell as much as NBA Youngboy with Sincerely Contrell. That did 137,000 copies first week. But it's considerable. Little Durk is on the upward. You know what I mean? Moving those units says a whole lot about him, But I'm just glad to see that this record with Chief Keef and NBA Youngboy is not a new joint. You know what I mean? I'm not here just to say, I mean, I love music. You know what I mean? I love hearing new music and shit like that. But I don't like seeing things that are in bad taste. You know what I mean? Like when I'm a big Black Youngsta fan. You know what I mean? I love all the shit that he does when he throws money inside of a shower and he fills the whole shower up, or he orders $3 million from. I'm a big on that. I love his videos. I don't enjoy it when he goes to a cemetery and films next to a tombstone that bears the last name of Young Dolph. Some of these things, it's not in good taste. You know what I mean? It's not in good taste, some of these things. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of Chief Keef linking up with NBA Youngboy just to diss Little Durk or just to spite Little Durk. I'm not a fan of that shit. I'm not here for that as a fan, just to be real. Well, No Limit. What do you mean? I compared it one time. That was the first time I ever made that comparison. And it is a true comparison. It is a very true comparison, man. Finally Rich. The album from Chief Keef. Interscope put out Chief Keef's album, Finally Rich, quicker than French Montana's album got put out. French Montana spent 10 years on the independent scene building his name, or however many years, maybe a little bit less than 10. And then you guys, Chief Keef came and signed with Interscope and dropped an album in the fraction of that time, and they both sold the same amount of units. They both moved about 55,000 units. The Excuse My French album and Chief Keef's album. Chief's album dropped, I want to say, in December. French's album dropped in May, 2012 to 2013. Somebody let me know if I'm wrong or right around the right approximate time. Little Durk's new album, man, double that, man. 120,000 units. That is crazy. That is crazy to me. Trench Baby says, keep it G. Durk is way harder than Keep if you really know music. That's a fact. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I was just saying that a few minutes ago, Trench. Like in reality, a lot of people have stopped messing with Chief Keef's music because it's kind of dated. Maybe it doesn't ride the beat enough. Maybe this is a factor in it as well. um, I'm just trying to, circle around an answer here as to why Chief Keef has lost his relevancy. I don't want to just say it's because he is not, going on social media. I think it more so has to do with the style of music that he's putting out. I don't think the style of music he's putting out is what the general public likes. You know what I mean? It's a little bit too grungy for me. You know what I mean? He's a little bit too, you know what I'm saying? I don't He's a little bit too, grungy for me when it comes to the shit. He doesn't care about making the music sound as good. What? Yep, exactly. East Coast, exactly. Yeah. Nobody is taking Chief Keef's flow anymore, bro. You know what I mean? The classic flows from Chief Keef I like are the hate being sober flow. You know what I mean? None of those flows are being taken. Chief Keef's flows are not being taken. The Migos flows are being taken. You know what I mean? These flows, the Ace Hoods, these guys' flows are being taken. But if somebody can please tell me a guy who raps like Chief Keef, like, yeah, yeah, exactly, Trench. I can barely really hear what Chief Keef is saying. Um, bro, Little Uzi Vert, All My Friends Are Dead sounds like nothing Chief Keef has ever done, bro. Like, let's be real. Let's be 100% real here. I understand a lot of these guys look at Chief Keef as an influence. They thought he was cool as hell. You know what I mean? They thought he was cool as hell. Maybe Soldier Boy does the Chief Keef flow. Maybe Soldier Boy does the Chief Keef flow. Yeah, maybe you got me on that one. I'd say, yeah, Soldier Boy is one of the artists that tried to run with Chief Keef's flow. And I'm like, please, Soldier Boy, you're not doing it. No, Soldier Boy's dope as hell, man. Hey. Bro, I'm sorry. No limit. I'm sorry. I'm just not like, bro, I love the I banged the Finally Rich album a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? And I really listened to the Lil Uzi Vert song a lot. And no, that wasn't it to me, man. That wasn't it. Yeah, yeah. Keith has got the influence, but his flow isn't, the one because, the singing is being more used now. The singing is being used now more. You know, yeah. Big Soulja still messes with Keith's flow heavy. Come on, bro. You don't listen to Youngboy? Are you kidding me? How can you not help but just listen to it, man? I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of people say that Youngboy's flow is a little bit ununderstandable. Like you can't really understand what he's saying. Some people say that. I can hear what he's saying. Um, but it's not in the same way that we can't understand Chief Keef. It's not in the same way whatsoever. NBA Youngboy does a lot of run-on sentences. Chief Keef, you just can't really hear. You know what I mean? And maybe you can hear more recent Chief Keef, but I just really tuned out after a while. No, he's not bad. I just don't listen to him. Yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying. Like, you didn't hear me put him on my top 5 list earlier or anything like that. I was just gonna say, how could you not hear Youngboy? Like, he's always got shit going on. Currency is lit. Currency is lit. Okay, Tyrese. That's that Louisiana flow. I hear what you're saying. Yep. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. I think I'm gonna listen to some Youngboy after the stream, to be honest with you. Hold on. What was the song I just wanted to listen to now? I just had it in my head, but we ain't done here, so I ain't listening to no music yet because we ain't done here, you guys. Yeah, Durk. Just like artists be rapping like Durk, they be rapping like Meek Mill, they be rapping like Ace Hood. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, they be trying to rap like Chief Keef too. He's right, man. He's right. But let me see. 42 Doug and these guys are just they took it a lot further than Chief Keef did. You know what I mean? It was like Chief Keef didn't really care about taking it that far in the game, which, as a viewer, as a fan, I think a lot of us are fans of hustlers. You know what I mean? We're fans of people who take their career to the next level, take their career to new heights. You know what I'm saying? That's 50 Cent was one of the biggest hustlers in the game. You know what I mean? We've gone from buying his CDs to, purchasing a drink in a store to watching a film on the movie screens to our HBO television channels. You know what I mean? Keep it 100. Styles P's your favorite. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Styles P is one of the dopest dudes. Okay. Okay, hold on. Hollowaya says, Spot 'em Got 'em, who I don't really listen to. Jada Youngin, who I don't really listen to. Uzi, who I don't hear it. You know what I'm saying? Because Chief Keef's flow is more rough than Uzi's flow. I'm a bigger fan of Chief Keef than I am Little Uzi Vert, and I don't hear it. Also, don't really listen to Playboy Cardi. Well, what I'm saying is they haven't blown up using Chief Keef's flow. But then what is that? It's like people don't usually, keyword usually, people don't usually blow up using other people's flows. But then, you know what people say? Everything on the radio sounds the same. Everything, you know what I mean? Knowledge Tafari, what's popping with you, man? All Pro says, who is listening to any of those guys? And like I said, I I don't hear it in Little Uzi Vert. You know what I mean? Like Little Uzi Vert is more of Young Thug influence to me, bro. Maybe a mixture of Young Thug and Chief Keef, but not so much Keef. You know what I mean? Because Keef, like, I just don't really hear the sound in it. Like, I stopped hearing the sound in it. Bro, Extension was more of a singer, bro. I really liked more of his like soft rock, Machine Gun Kelly type soft rock shit. Yeah, they said that about everybody, bro. They even said that the Migos were copying Chief Keef back in the day. That's why there was beef with them guys. You know what I mean? When it was completely evident that the Migos were not copying Chief Keef. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe it was just because I was down in Florida, Miami at that time, which was kind of like near that whole scene. Yo, knowledge, we had a whole just rewind the stream, bro. Let me do some open questions. had a great we had a great discussion tonight. I want anybody. All right, we're gonna do some open questions now. We'll flip it, man. We're gonna flip it now. We'll do some open questions before we end the podcast tonight, man. What a show. Let me see. Hold up. I need y'all to go check out my new interview with Brick Boy Dior. Just dropped a new interview on my page. Brick Boy Dior speaking on working with Lil Mosey. I'm going to pin it up right now, you guys. So I want y'all to go check out my new interview with Brick Boy Dior. It's a dope interview. Let me see what y'all like. Bet who is the best of the three? NBA Youngboy is winning in the chat right now, yo. NBA Youngboy is winning in the poll. Excuse me. If you guys haven't voted in the poll, vote right now. Everybody can vote in the poll right now. Also, if you want to support Mikey T's Kush, send a Snapchat or whatever. No, send a super chat. Send a super chat in if you want to support the Kush habit. Actually, never mind. I'll support my own Kush habit. But if anybody wants to be generous, it's on you. Check that out. Trent says, man, Durk is the hardest, bro. Yeah, the 7220 album was hard as hell. I ain't gonna lie. That album was hard as hell. Listen, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe right now. I'm going to do some open questions if anybody wants. Shelton, I haven't been following that, to be honest with you, bro. Yo, listen. Who is going to be my 57,700th follower? I want to know who will be my 57,700th follower. Everybody subscribe right now. I want to know who's number 57,700. I'm 7 away. I'm 7 subscribers away from 57,700. Who's going to be number 57,700? The one he's like, my rat. Hey, you did a good in the back. Hey, no, that was not Chief Keef, bro. Sorry. What I just did right there is not Chief Keef. Chief Keef is no tomorrow. No tomorrow. Go listen to No Tomorrow, and you got Chief Keef. Ooh, I like this. My top 5 interviews. My top 5 interviews. Hold on, you guys. Let's see. My top 5 interviews. All right. Top 5 interviews. Yo Gotti. Young Dolph. Max B. AZ. Dead Prez. Yeah, that's 5 of my best interviews right there, man. That's 5 of my best interviews that I ever did right there. Hold on. All right. Hold on. Who's going to be my 57,700th subscriber? All right. We got 6 more to go, you guys. Guess it's not going to happen tonight. Free the boss down, Big Avel, man. That's what I was saying earlier, man. That's what I was saying earlier. I really like Triple X's like soft rock type shit, you know, like the shit that kind of sounded like what Machine Gun Kelly's doing right now. But that's just my opinion, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody for tapping in on tonight's live video. Listen, if anybody here is on the gram and you're not following me, I'm going to follow everybody back. Everybody that follows me right now, I'm going to follow you guys back on Instagram. And listen, everybody that comments on the interview that I have posted right now, pinned from Brick Boy Dior, I will give you a shout out on the next live video. If you drop a comment on the Brick Boy Dior interview, just do it, write a little comment, check out the interview, write a comment, and then DM me, and I will give you a shout out on my next live video. So that's something I'm offering to all 50 of you watching. If you got a movie coming up, if you're a writer, if you're a musician, anything like that you want me to promote for you, whoever goes checks out my interview with Brick Boy Dior that's pinned up in the chat, and then drops a comment on YouTube, and then follow me on Instagram and write me the little drop you want me to say, I will give you a drop on the next video. But let me see right here. We're doing last questions, you guys. Shelton Ritter says, top 5 people you want to interview. The top 5 people that I want to interview. Wow, man. Great question right there. I definitely want to interview Wallow. I definitely want to interview my guy Wallow267. We were actually supposed to put together an interview probably about 7 months ago, but he's just gotten extremely busy. Another person I was actually supposed to do a follow-up interview with not too long ago, probably about 6 months ago, as well, was Benny the Butcher. Yeah, I'd written out a whole interview with Benny the Butcher. So that was another one that I actually was supposed to do that I didn't end up getting to do. So we got Benny the Butcher on that list. Also, I would like to interview one of the members of Bone Thugs and Harmony. You know what I mean? Whether it's Lazy or Crazy or Busy or Flesh. You know what I mean? I'd love to interview one member of the Bone Thugs and Harmony, or even a few of the guys. You know, a couple of those dudes would be great to actually interview. Let me see. Somebody else that I would want to interview. I would definitely want to interview Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Not saying that's going to even be able to happen. You know what I mean? But I'm just going to put it out there. You know what I mean? Jay-Z is somebody that I would want to interview for sure. You know what I mean? And another person, I've got to meet him on an occasion. I've got to shake his hand. He called me a gentleman. I would definitely like to interview Drake. You know what I mean? But Drake doesn't really do interviews like that. Drake doesn't really do interviews like that. You know what I'm saying? And also Steve will do it. That guy is the man. You know, Steve will do it. I would definitely love to do an interview with him. That was 5, right? Might have been 6, but Steve will do it. Needed to be on the list. He changes people's lives on a daily basis, and I just think somebody or more people need to acknowledge that, because people do acknowledge that, because you know, people are seeing what he's doing, and they're like, people are shedding tears for what that guy's doing and shit like that. But if anybody wants to send in a final question before we get done with the live podcast, I'm going to end the poll in just a minute. So who is the best of these 3? If you're just tapping in and you haven't voted in the poll yet, who is the best? NBA Youngboy, Lil Durk, or Chief Keef? I want to know who you think is the best out of those three. I'm giving you guys 60 more seconds to vote in the poll. And then I'm going to end the poll for tonight. Right now, Chief Keef is at 26%. Lil Durk is at 33%. And NBA Youngboy is sitting at the top with 41%. Damn, I really appreciate everybody tuning in for the live tonight. I really do. And like I said, I'd appreciate it if you guys hit the link in my bio or hit the link that's pinned up right now so you can check out my interview with Brick Boy Dior. Okay, it looks like NBA Youngboy has moved up to 43%. NBA Youngboy 43%. Lil Durk 32%. And Chief Keef 26%. This is your last opportunity to vote in the poll. There's 55 of you in here. I create these opportunities for you all so you could have a little bit of extra something to do in here. So I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds, 30 more seconds to vote. I'm going to take these last tokes of this runt smoke. You dig what I'm saying? And I definitely had a great time. on the live tonight. I always appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. If anybody in here is not subscribed to the channel, subscribe right now, y'all. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my live videos, man. I'm going to end the poll now. I appreciate everybody for participating in it. Jason, appreciate you for tuning in, man. Major salute. Oh, Shelton's got a little bit of Play-Doh on deck. Okay, that's what's up, man. And like I said, if anybody on here is not following me on the gram, follow me right now. I will follow you all back immediately after the stream, y'all. I'll follow everybody back immediately after the stream. I appreciate y'all for tapping in tonight. I am your host. I thank you for tuning into my live podcast tonight. I'm getting up out of here. Major respect to y'all. Salute, man. I'll see you on the next episode, y'all. Hold on. 1 second. Nick said, you'll get all the interviews you asked for, fam. You're a hard worker and you stay grinding, fam. I appreciate that, man. I really do. Definitely appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. Salute. Appreciate everybody, man. Hell yeah, man. Dub Honcho, salute. Respect everybody. I'll see y'all on the next episode. Mikey T, the movie stars, out.